A lot of e-commerce ads don't fail in the ad account, they fail after the click. We can earn the click and then watch purchases stay flat because the experience on the other side doesn't match what we promised in the ad. One reminder up front, because it explains a lot of mystery performance. Most of paid social traffic is mobile, so if it feels cramped or confusing on the phone, the conversion rate is going to take a hit. When I say conversion in this video, I mean purchase. That's the main metric. But I also pay attention to the steps before the purchase, like add to cart and checkout, because those steps tell us where people are dropping off. That's how we avoid making random changes and hoping something works. In our work, the fastest wins usually show up in a few places. The first one is the post-click experience, which really comes down to message match and usability. Your landing page should feel like a continuation of the ad. The shopper should immediately recognize the product, the offer, and the overall tone. If they clicked for one specific product, we almost never want to drop them onto a generic page and ask them to search for it. That little moment of confusion is one of the easiest ways to lose a sale. Speed matters here too. If the page loads slowly on mobile, people leave even if they were interested. You could have a great ad and still lose the sale because the site experience feels heavy. Here's a simple test I like. When the page loads on a phone, can a shopper understand what this is, who it's for, why they should trust it, and what to do next? If those answers are not obvious quickly, you are forcing people to work, and most people won't. And if a discount is the reason that someone clicked, the discount should be clear as soon as they land. People should not have to scroll around or hunt for the offer that pulled them in. The second lever is creative, because creative influences conversion more than most teams want to admit. If the creative attracts the wrong person, you could still get the clicks and you can still spend the budget and the purchases will still lag. In that situation, the problem is not that you need a slightly different audience. The problem is that the messaging is pulling in people who are never a good fit to buy. So a really great example is women's vitamins. Obviously, if you're selling a product where your target market is women, you want to feature that demographic and their pay points in the ad, or else you're going to lead to wasted spend, wasted clicks, engagement from the wrong audience. For example, we had a client that sold women's vitamins that featured men in the creative. To no surprise, we generated a lot of clicks and impressions from the male demographic. To help improve the performance, we switched the imagery in the ads from men to women, and almost immediately we saw that the conversion rate, the click-through rate, and the performance increase. So that's just a really great example of how we see the creative impact the performance of the ads, especially when you're trying to reach a very niche segment. It's important to show that segment in your creative as well. The third lever is checkout friction, because this is where the intent turns into revenue or disappears. I see the same issues over and over. The checkout has too many steps, the form asks for too much, mobile typing feels annoying, and sometimes there is forced account creation right in the middle of the purchase. Two changes tend to make a noticeable difference quickly. We want to offer the guest checkout when possible, and we want to reduce the amount of work between cart and payment. That usually means fewer fields, fewer pages, and a smoother mobile flow. If you try to buy your own product on your phone and you feel irritated halfway through, your customers feel it too. The fourth lever is trust. It connects directly to retargeting. Trust is often the reason why people hesitate. They're unsure the product will work for them, they're unsure if the brand is legit, or they just need one more signal that the purchase is worth it. So we add social proof where decisions are made. That usually means reviews and testimonials on the product page, and often in the cart or checkout area as well. The most helpful reviews are the ones that support the specific claim you're making. If you are selling a shampoo for hair health, show reviews that talk about your hair health results, because that is what the shopper is trying to validate. Then we build retargeting that respects where someone is in the funnel. Most purchases take more than one touch. So we segment based upon behavior instead of showing the same message to everyone. A first-time visitor usually needs credibility signals like reviews, customer stories, and any strong third-party validation that you can use. A cart abandoner is in a different headspace, so we focus on reminders and on removing the last bit of doubt that stopped them from finishing. Before we go and change a bunch of things, we verify what is actually happening. This is where behavior tools are incredibly useful. Microsoft Clarity gives us heat maps and session recording so we can see what people do after the click. If people are not scrolling, then the value prop is not landing or the page is not clear. If people are scrolling everywhere and tapping around randomly, then the path to purchase is not obvious. For creative analysis and iteration, we also use tools like Motion so we can learn what patterns are working and build smarter variations instead of relying on options. So, if you want higher conversion rates from paid social traffic, start by making the post-click experience match the promise and make it work smoothly on browser. Then, make sure your creative is attracting buyers, not just browsers. After that, reduce checkout friction and add trust where people hesitate. Finally, use behavior data to confirm the leak before you rebuild anything. If you want help finding the bottleneck and fixing it, reach out. We can take a look and tell you what I would change first.